Today I'm going to show you how to play Crusader Kings 3, one of my favorite, most played medieval role-playing games of all time. This is the only CK3 beginner's guide you'll ever need for a strong start, no matter what. Let's go. Right, so as you open up the game, you'll be met with this screen, and we're gonna go start a new game. Now, depending on what DLCs you have, some of these options might not be available to you. There's also a tutorial in the top left corner you can try, but we're gonna skip that completely, make things even easier for you. Now, the recommended ruler to start with is Petty King Murchad, who is the Duke of Munster. Right at the top, you'll see your starting date. I personally usually start in 867 because I like my campaigns to run for as long as possible. For this CK3 tutorial, I'm gonna choose Jarl Hestin, who is a Norseman of the Asatru faith, right in the middle of Europe's Catholic-dominated populace. Right at the bottom, there's also a game rules section where you can tweak some settings, but we're going to leave everything as is on the default settings. Of course, you can make your own changes here and hit apply once you're happy with it. Then, once you're ready, hit the start button. You can also, of course, at the bottom left, create your own ruler here. It will take some time to load the map, and as you can see here, you can choose to start wherever you want, whether that is a caliph or just a small count. You can choose whoever you want or create your own, either adventurer or ruler. Now, the adventurers do not have any holdings. They're more like travelers, wanderers, mercenaries, if you will. Or you can just create your own ruler and take control of whatever county, duchy, kingdom, or empire you want. That's where we're gonna head back and choose Jarl Hestin. Start our game. Now, a lot of people is put off by playing this game because they think it's really difficult. And yes, while there is a lot to learn, it's not as hard as it seems. So first of all, we're gonna click our character here, zoom in, see exactly what we have. So we have one county. On the top right corner, you can see it says toggle outliner. Now, I like keeping mine on because it will show your armies, your domain holdings, as well as any pinned characters holding or titles. So here we can see we have one county holding, that is Montagu, bringing in 1.84 gold per month and has 214 levies to call up with your army should you want to attack or go to war with someone. Right, so first things first, once you start the game, you'll see right at the top, it will give you your first tasks. So the first thing, it says no lifestyle chosen. We're going to click on that button, and here you have your lifestyle skill trees. Now, depending on your upbringing, you will get a bonus. So Jarl Hestin here did have a martial upbringing, giving us a 40% increase in experience for the martial skill tree. So we're going to choose that because we're going to need to expand on our territory. As you can see here, you're met with 3 separate skill trees. On the left here is your lifestyle focus. So we need to choose one of these. Now, it doesn't matter which one you choose, you can put your points into any one of these 3 once you have enough experience for a skill point. So I'm just going to choose strategy focus and hit select. But let's just quickly go through the different lifestyles. You have your diplomacy lifestyle here, of course the martial one we just looked at, the stewardship one, which will bring in more gold, Intrigue for the more shady characters, a learning tree for scholars or religious characters, and then finally the wandering lifestyle, which will automatically gain experience as you travel around the map. Of course, certain events will also lead to getting skill points in different trees, but we're not going to focus too much on that right now. So let's close this page and start building. Now, this icon you see here means you have enough money to build something. So we're going to click on Montagu here, and here you can see the overview of that county. Its population control, the development, which will later allow you to build more buildings and upgrade existing ones. The popular opinion is how much these people like you and why they don't or do like you. The culture, as you can see, it says 0% because we occupied a French county and they're not too fond of the Norse during this time period. The county's main faith is also Catholicism, which is not ideal. I'm going to show you how to manage and improve this in just a second. You can also see how much taxes it generates, the loot in the city. So if someone raids you, that is what they're gonna loot. Or if you raid someone else, for example, you can also click on a different county, see the loot, and if you're raiding this place, you'll get 20 gold. But more on that a bit later. So we go back to our own county. You'll also see the supply limit, meaning how long it will hold out under siege, as well as your plague resistance. Just below that is your castle, which you can upgrade later. And at the bottom, here you can upgrade and build new buildings. So the plus sign here will allow us to construct something new. So for me personally, once I start a new game, the most important thing for me is gold. Because without gold, you will not have a very strong military. So a good choice would be either a trade port giving us 0.35 tax per month, as well as development growth, the farms and fields giving us 0.5 gold a month, or hospices that increases your plague resistance, piety, and a bit of tax. So since we're right next to the ocean, I'm gonna build a trade port. Once you click to build it, it will show you how long it will take to build. And back to our county on this screen, you'll see these empty lots where you can construct new holdings a bit later, if your culture permits it. As you can see, we can't build anything yet because your culture requires certain things that need to be researched in order to build whatever building you want. So right, now that that's done, let's look at our character. Now the Attrition will allow you to have up to 3 concubines. As you can see, we already have a spouse with a comely trait that can be passed down to your children. Our son and heir has a quick trait, which can also be passed down. Now let's say you don't have a wife or heir to follow in your footsteps. You'll also see a plus sign here, similar to the concubines. And just show an example. If we click on the plus here to find one, your marriage screen will look very similar to this. Depending on your ruler, you'll have more options. Concubines are only single women in your county. So nobody outside of your county will be seen under concubines unless they are a prisoner. Now, more concubines means more kids and a stronger dynasty. This icon right here, of course, being your dynasty, which we're going to discuss a bit later. Let's just close the screen for now. We're not going to take on any concubines. In fact, I'm going to use Catherine here to show you how to choose a suitable partner, or how I like to do it. So here you can see it says find spouse with 2 rings. I'm going to click on that to arrange a marriage for her. Now also take into account she's a lowborn, so you don't have too many great options for marriage here. But let's say we have hundreds of people to choose from. So I'll click toggle filters. For fertility, we want a fertile partner, and under traits, I always look for inheritable traits first. So we don't want our heir to marry a lowborn. So let's just undo that. Click here on sort by sum of all skills. Now, as you can see here, it will sort by, the one with the most skill points at the top, the one with the least skill points at the bottom. Now, during times of war, I like to marry the females to men with great prowess. So I'll sort prowess, and it seems like our religious berserker over here is the ideal candidate for her. So we're going to choose him. It says this marriage will not be born into a house. The children will create their own house once they become a more important figure in the game. So we're going to click send proposal, and they're married. And now, depending on their traits and fertility, they'll start having children. So let's just look at the UI here at the bottom. here you'll see your culture. If you open that up, this is your culture screen with your different traditions, what bonuses the specific culture gets, as well as your innovations, which only the cultural head will be able to choose. At the moment, we can see that Jarl Björn Ironside, so he will be the one who gets to choose what is being researched and how long it will take. If this is you, you can click on one of these and you'll get a focus icon here, which means it will be researched a lot faster because whoever is the cultural head is obsessed with whatever you choose. Let's close that, go to the religion tab. Now, take into account, I'm surrounded by Catholics, so it's gonna be tough. We're gonna either have to try and convert our county as well as the people around us to a Sartre, or we're just gonna have to convert to Catholicism. But then, of course, we'll lose any concubines because they do not allow that. Every religion has its separate tenets, sins, and virtues, followed by all the doctrines. And if there is one, a head of faith right at the bottom. On a separate tab, you'll see your holy sites. Now, these sites are really important for your religion. As you can see, Paderborn here is controlled by the Catholics. So long-term goal would be to try and take that back. Once you have enough piety points, as you can see here in the top right corner, you'll be able to reform the faith should your religion have at least 3 holy sites within that religion. You can choose anything from tenets to doctrines, but we'll make a separate video on that if this one does well. So closing that screen, here you can see your dynasty, how many living members there are, as well as your dynasty tree, which is always cool. Gets a bit out of hand later in the game, but it's there. Let's go look at the top right corner here. Again, as you build this renown, meaning how famous your house is, you'll unlock Dynasty Legacies, which you can open at the bottom here. So a lot of different options for you to choose here. I like going for the Noble Veins legacy first to ensure my children inherit those good traits. But you can really choose whatever suits your playstyle. I just like at least having these first 3, regardless of who my ruler is. So let's close that up. Then again, your county info. Here you'll see your legitimacy, which you definitely want on a 5 to avoid rebellions and factions forming against you. Here you'll see your stress level. Now, as you reach a new stress level, you'll have to pick up either a bad perk or get more stress. Sometimes you get lucky, you might even get a good perk, like being athletic, going out for a run to clear your mind. Here's your lifestyle focus and your inventory. Let's click on that. We don't have anything yet. At the top here, eventually you'll need to hire an antiquarian to maintain your stuff. As you can see, we only have one option who has a poor aptitude, so we're going to skip that for now as we don't have anything equipped. These you can gain either through inspirations, which I'll show you a bit later, or conquest, taking it from someone or even stealing it from someone if you're going that route. And if you have enough money, you can say commission artifact and it will recruit a local artisan to come build or make you something. Now let's look at the top right. Here you'll see tips. This is also a very important screen that will basically tell you exactly what to do. It's pretty much your to-do list. So let's go from top to bottom. It says it's not employing a personal physician. This is the person that will keep everyone healthy, control plagues and whatnot. So we'll choose the one that says average, which is our best option at the moment. Once you recruit someone, you'll be able to give them different tasks, and depending on that task, it will have a cost involved. So this one will cost you 0.05 prestige per month, whereas researching will cost 0.05 gold, and controlling plagues will the same. But our guy's pretty bad, so for now I'll just say improve skills, and hopefully it gets a bit better every month. Then, going back to the tips, it says not endorsed by your Godi, meaning my main priest doesn't like me too much, and the game would suggest starting a sway scheme against Intrigue. So yeah, let's do that. Try and win him over and make our life a bit easier in the long run. Let's just close these screens again, and it says you can station a men-at-arms regiment, and it will immediately open up your military tab, which is this one on the right, which we'll explain in a bit. But right now, just to station our troops, you just click on whichever one you want, click this button, change stationed holding, and it will show you any bonuses you get should you station those troops here. And that's it really. Next, it will show you who you can declare war against. We'll attack someone in a sec. First, we also need to designate a guardian for our son and heir to bring them up. And in this case, it will be me. So I'll become his guardian and he'll become my ward. Another way to do this is clicking on the son, hitting this relationships tab here and clicking the plus icon. Or you can also click your main character, go to relationships and be the guardian of up to 2 wards. So once you click that, it will show you the children you can educate. We're going to educate our son and say send proposal, which will unlock some events that will give him skills, traits, and whatnot. Then the final tip, it says we have few champions. We only have 5, so we want to open that up and click invite champions. Send the herald. Boom. So this will send invitations and eligible knights will come to your county, which you can then recruit for gold. So at the top here, next to the tips section, you'll see your monthly income, prestige, piety, renown, your total soldiers, all your domains. Also note, depending on your title and rank, there will be a limit on the amount of holdings you can have. Looking at the bar on the right, at the top, you'll see your realm. This will show you a breakdown of your domain, your holdings, subjects, which we don't have currently, but once we build a temple or city here, they'll become our vassal. You'll see them here and you'll be able to give them a directive to say either focus on economics, military, converting faith, or culture, just to give you a few examples. Then you'll see your laws. Right off the bat, I'm going to increase my law to pass limited crown authority. This of course won't impress your vassals if you have them. We're going to do that anyway. And then your succession laws as well as preferences, which you can change a bit later in the game. Right now, all of our titles will go to our one son, but should you have 10 titles and 10 sons in the beginning, it will give most titles to your main heir and many titles will be distributed between your children depending on your laws. Eventually, we want to aim for a law that will allow our main heir to inherit most, if not all, of the titles. And then the next tab is your military. You'll see all your armies, your levies, your champions, as well as your men at arms. As you can see, we only have 2 out of 3. We can create a men-at-arms regiment. As you click, it will open up your choices, and I like the Varangian veterans who are really strong. Though if you're not playing with the Norsemen, Huskarls are also great. Of course, every unit will counter another unit, and even light footmen can be a great choice against the right army. So I just want some veterans on my side, because we're in for a tough war where we're at. Vikings will also give you some special soldiers which you can raise, and then at the bottom here you can set different rally points, which is where your armies will be raised. On a separate tab you'll see the Mercenaries screen, which you can hire in case of an emergency if you need more soldiers, but we're not gonna need that just yet. Note that they are also really expensive, meaning this will cost you 145 gold for a 3-year contract. If you say hire, these 744 soldiers as well as the men-at-arms they have will fight for you for 3 years, after which you'll have to renew it for the same price should you wish to do so. It is expensive, so don't do that unless you absolutely have to. The next tab we have here on the right is your council. This is also a really important screen. You'll be using a lot. Top you'll see your spouse, who can assist you with either everything, or you can choose a more specific role for them. And since our spouse is pretty good with money, we're going to choose Manage Domain. And look at how many at the top there. It says 1.0. No, it says 1.1. Slightly better. For your Goatee, should you want to choose someone else, you just select this almost recycle button. There's no one at the moment, since our entire court is probably Catholic. Yep, Chancellor. If you want to appoint a new one, you can sort them by diplomacy. You want the one with the highest diplomacy. As you can see, this one is already a steward, so you can swap him out, but there's no really need because he's probably also the best steward there is. For the military, you can sort everything by marshal. Choose one that has a good martial stat, and then for your spy master, you want Intrigue. So as you can see, here's also the best one. You can also set tasks for everyone. So let's start with your religious head. You can either fabricate a claim or a county to integrate titles. Honestly, I do not personally use this a lot. What I do use a lot is converting faith. So we want to try and turn these people into Asatru followers. Note that because we are surrounded by Catholics, the Pope or King will eventually try and convert us, and if we don't want to convert, they'll probably try to attack us. But we'll get there when we get there. So we're trying to convert faith. It will take 15 years. That's a long time. Of course, the duration also depends on your skill level here. And then at the bottom, religious relations, which will give you more piety per month. Of course, the more piety you have, the bigger of a religious figure you become. For your chancellor, you can bestow royal favor, which will increase your legitimacy. You can integrate titles, which I also don't really use. I don't really use these top two. I like choosing domestic affairs because this one will improve your guests and courtiers' opinions of you. So it will make them like you a bit more, which is very useful. So generally, I keep mine on domestic affairs 90% of the time. For your steward, you can promote your culture, so we can do that. Try and convert the French to Vikings, which will take 11 years. We can increase your development a bit faster, which is also another one I use a lot, or the default is just collecting taxes and getting more money. For your marshal, if he has high enough skill level, he can improve your guards and knights. If there's low control in the county, you can choose this one and just increase control, which you can see here. Ours is 100, so we don't have this option available. You can also train commanders or organize army, which will keep this figure up here topped up. So generally, if I'm not increasing control in some county, I keep mine on organized army, especially if you are at war or planning on going to war. This is the one I use most. Then for your spy master, you can assign him to find secrets in your court, which you can use to blackmail people for hooks to use to your advantage, or simply learn something about a courtier, guest, or owner of a holding. You can also support schemes of your main character should you want to scheme against someone, either murder someone, abduct someone, or steal from them. Whatever it is. And then the disrupt schemes at the bottom will try and keep you and your courtiers safe from hostile schemes. And speaking of schemes, let's go to the Intrigue tab. We only have a personal scheme, so if there's a scheme going on, you'll see them here. We have no hostile schemes, but we have the personal scheme trying to sway Trigby. Right at the top here, you have countermeasures, which you can choose. Now, I typically don't use any of them unless I'm getting paranoid of being assassinated. Then I use redouble guards, which honestly, it's the only one I use as it has way more pros than cons. So on the next tab, you'll see hooks and secrets. See any hooks you hold, secrets you know, hooks someone else hold on you, and secrets unknown to anyone else. On the next tab, you'll see factions. So if there are factions targeting you, you'll see them here, who they are and why they're targeting you. The decisions tab here, is where you can make all your major decisions. So one thing I like to do when I start a new game is clicking on everyone and ensuring the notify when this decision becomes available box is ticked. So once we can make one of these big decisions, we'll get a notification at the top here saying you can do this. So I just tick all the boxes. Artifacts we're not too worried about, exiles also not that one. Train for tournament, we definitely want that because it gives our character bonuses. There are some we don't want. Here you can also obviously convert to your local culture, which will remove all the negative opinions of your populace. And then the Vikings can also choose a personal deity. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I like Thor because Thor gives us more stewardship and prowess. And at the bottom, I'll also tick the box for invite champions because we're just starting out and we need to fill up our military with proper knights. So let's close the decision screen, head to activities. This is the fun part. These are the activities you can do, also giving you bonuses. As you can see with a feast, for example, you'll get stress loss. With a hunt, you might get a nice pelt or trophy. A pilgrimage will give you the pilgrim stat, legitimacy gain, and improved opinion with religious folk. A university will allow you to increase your skills. And there's also a grand tour, grand wedding, can hold a funeral, and Vikings can do human sacrifices as well, should you wish to do that. And then finally, we have situations. Now here at the top, you'll see situations will be like earthquakes, massive world events, really, any natural disasters. As you can see, I don't have any situations at the moment. There are some others in the step, like the Dynasty cycles and different phases of different DLCs, really. See the Legends tab, which is not important right now. It's really not something you need to worry about right now. And it is really expensive, so you don't want to promote or have a legend seed anywhere near the beginning unless you start with a king or emperor that has a good cash flow. You can also see plagues. Luckily we don't start with any plagues, but they will definitely start popping up, especially in high density towns and cities. And then finally in the bottom right, you'll see different map filters, allowing you to see different duchies, kingdoms, empires, faiths, cultures, and houses. We'll just keep it on realms for now, but these are really useful as well. At the bottom you have your start stop button, which will progress time. You have your ledger with all your wars, artifacts, characters, houses, holdings, counties, titles, faiths and religions, cultures, and known killers. And back to the bottom you have your Encyclopedia, which I've never used, but it's there. And then your in-game menu. Then if you click those three dots, the only two I really use is I like looking at my lineage. And if there's a song I don't like some of the throat singing Mongolian type songs, some of it's really bad, I'm sorry, but you can disable it here. So if you don't like something, you can just disable the songs, or you can choose to disable any individual songs. It will of course show you what is playing at the moment. So yeah, and that's it. Now we can finally start playing. I like keeping my speed on 3, so before we unpause, I want to see who we can attack right off the bat to try and strengthen our realm and dynasty. So green will indicate that you'll probably beat these people, though not definitely, and red is, yeah, don't even try. So let's go for the one that has 723, which will open the declare war window. Now as we zoom out, we can see where this guy is, how many soldiers he has, how many we have, their gold, our gold, as well as the options as to why we are attacking them. But now, like the reason, so now we can say the conquered duchy or county, but the reason this number is higher than the 700 it said is because he has allies with a military strength of 1200, so it's not as weak as we first thought. So let's try another one. Let's see whether King Solomon is an easier target, and yes, he is. So what we want to do, we want to conquer his duchy, which will give us a lot of ground. Of course, the Pope won't be too happy with us attacking other Catholic rulers, but we're going to do it. As you can see, we outnumber them. This should be fairly easy. They don't have allies. We're going to declare war. As we declare war on King Solomon, you'll see these red lines with little blue dots. The red lines might actually be a lot bigger, but the blue dots indicate the target counties that you need to take over in order to beat them, really. So we want to click on our rally point flag here, and we are going to say raise all here. So now our troops will gather as soon as we unpause. So we're going to unpause just quick and pause again, and we have all our armies raised. Of course, how fast they get raised depends on how many counties you have and how dispersed your troops are, really. But let's select our army and right click on one of the main holdings. Now the holding with the crown will be their capital, which will give you the most war score. As you can see at the bottom right here is the war screen, and depending on how well you perform, your war score will increase. Once you get to 100, you'll be able to enforce demand and take control of his stuff. And if you really want to, you can surrender, but you don't want to do that because you're gonna pay money, he's gonna earn prestige, and you're gonna lose prestige. So yeah, surrendering is not really an option for me. It's not a button I press, I'd rather lose. Let's do this. Let's unpause and move towards their capital. Once we arrive, you'll see the siege bar starting to increase, as well as some notifications popping up. This notifies us that King Charles, who apparently is one of our rivals, has made some new allies. If we want to know where this guy is, he is here in Paris. So we'll worry about him a bit later. For now, we really want to try and take Ned. So let's unpause. We're going to click these three little spears, which will show us our siege progress. It says it's going to take us about 8 months. There's about 20 days for each siege event. As you can see, these events showing, disease outbreak starting, and we are in trouble because here comes a massive army. Now, to see whether you're going to win or not, even though this isn't always accurate, there will be an icon showing the potential outcome and why. As you can see here, they have more soldiers, but I have a better commander and higher quality soldiers. So as they start fighting, you'll see some events pop up here, as well as which army units counter which other units. As you can see, if they're green, means they're really good. Red means they're being counted. So we defeated that army, immediately giving us plus 50% war score. You can also speed things up once the walls are breached. As you can see, some of the soldiers are starting to desert them. Once the walls are breached, you can assault the fort, but it will cost a lot of troops, though it will be a lot faster. So we don't want to do that unless we have a big army. At the top we can see our first knight has arrived. So now we can recruit this guy. Right click, say recruit to court, and he will cost 25 gold. But he is a tough soldier as well as a forder. He also has really good prowess and is a Norseman, meaning he can become a berserker, giving him even more bonuses. So first thing we want to do is right click on him and find him a spouse. We're going to click on toggle filters, go to traits, say inheritable. So we don't have any options for a spouse with inheritable traits. So we're just going to try and pick someone manually for him. But she's 39. Now women are typically fertile up to 45. So she'll have about 6 years to have a child, which is not really enough. We're going to pick the 26-year-old for him. We're just going to take her because she's a bit younger and have them marry. As you can see, we also have the notification that's saying our wife is bearing our child, giving her a little pregnancy icon, as well as how long she's been pregnant. But back to the war. As you can see, these guys are coming in for a second attack because they know it's over. If we take the capital, it's not good for them. So have 38 8 days to go, so we can see here we will win decisively. So the only thing they have is more commander traits, but yeah, it's not going to go well for them. Our one champion, Intrigue, we maimed one of their characters, we killed one of them, and another win for us. No increase in war score yet, since that was the same army that attacked us the first time, but boom. As you can see, we won the siege, we got that 20 loot that we spoke about earlier, and we even captured this king and his daughter-in-law. So now we have a few options. We can either click this flag here, enforce demands, meaning we're going to take all his land, or we can hit the courtiers tab at the top here, click on prisoners, and here we see we have the princess and king. Now we can right click on the princess, either make her concubine. Let's just see if she has any good traits. No, nothing worthy, but she is young, so that's good. Now we have a few options here. As we right click on her, at the bottom you have your prison section. I'm going to click on the 3 more just so I can show you what we actually wanted to see if we can ransom her, but the king will not accept. So that's not an option. We can actually recruit her to our court, saying negotiate release. I would say recruit and demand conversion, meaning she will convert to a Satru, though she may still continue to practice her religion in secret. You can also gain a hook, but we don't want that. So I'm going to negotiate release. I'm going to steal the princess for myself, have some Carling kids in my court, and of course you can ransom the king or choose to execute him if you want, but we're not going to do that. Ransom for a king will net you 200 gold. Now, even though that is really tempting to do, it will reduce your war score, meaning you'll have to keep fighting a bit longer. So you really have to decide what you want to do. For me, I think we can drag this out a bit longer. We need the gold. Let's ransom him. You can see it doesn't have enough gold, meaning you put him in another really weak position, since they won't be able to maintain their armies. But yeah, let's continue the game now. As you can see, she says, I have no choice but to accept. So she's my courtier now. If she has children, they will be born into my court. Of course, courtiers can also leave if they want, though it will be a couple of years generally. So we just say, what's your step? Continue and wait for the king to be ransomed. See, he paid his ransom, but now as we close this screen, now we can see it's still on 100, so we got lucky. That doesn't always happen. If you ransom an important figure, this score typically drops, not always, but we got lucky here. So we're going to click there. We scored 178 gold. We're going to enforce demands, getting some legitimacy and fame. And boom, you can see he's not very happy. And if we highlight here, you can see he became a rival, losing all his titles. And he also became an adventurer that will wander the map looking for contracts. So let's click that. We say, so be it. And the first thing we want to do is to disband all armies, because we're paying for any raised armies, as you can see here. So as we disband them, say disband all, our income increases. Now you'll see some new notifications here. Nothing too important. If you want to clear it, you can just wipe them like this, so it can get a bit much. There is also a mod that allows you to clear all notifications. I'll make a separate video on my favorite mods if needed. And right at the top, you'll see we have some new notifications, as well as some new tips. So what we're going to do first is look at this red one, saying we are above the domain limit. At the top right, you can also see we're only allowed to have 5 domains, but we now have 6. What we want to do is look for the smallest one with the least holdings and least income and give it to someone else. So buildings will be disabled as long as you're above your domain limit. So that is why we don't see how much gold they're actually making. We can see the levies though, but I'm just going to click manually on each one of them and see which buildings they have, as well as how many holding slots they have for later on. So Nantes, we definitely don't want to give that one away. This one only has 2 slots. It is bringing in some income already. Cornwall has 3 slots. In the long run, that will be better. This one also has 3 slots. So I'm actually going to give away Rene, even though it might seem to be making the most money right now. Now to grant it to someone else, we want to click this icon in the bottom left, which will bring up this screen. Now, as you can see, the most relevant candidate is Arnie, who is a lowborn, though if you make him a vassal, he will start a house and dynasty of his own. But I'm going to give this to my son. But before I could do that, the game shows this warning saying he becomes independent because their rank equals ours. So we don't want to give away a county just yet. We're going to close this, open the tips screen, and look for an option that says you can create the Duchy of Brittany. This will make us a duke. So we'll say create title, create, boom. You are now a mighty jarl. So now it's safe to give away this county, which I'm going to give to my son. To see that warning disappeared, we'll grant him a title, and he just became our vassal. Now I can click on him or any vassal. If I have a hook on him, as you can see here, I do because he's my child. I can right click, and right at the bottom, I can say modify vassal contract, which is always the first thing I do. And I want more taxes from him. I want more levies from him. As you can see, it says this is an act of tyranny because we have no reason to, give ourselves a better deal. So we're going to need to give him some positives as well. I'm going to say title revocation is protected. We can't revoke his title. And I'm going to give him the option to declare war. Now, the act of tyranny, opinion loss is a lot less now, but because we have a hook, we can say use a hook and it's done. So Count Ragnar is going to lose some opinion of us, but we're not too bothered. Going to click modify vassal contract, and we're going to get some more levies and gold from him now. Going to close our screens. So these buildings that was disabled will start to re-enable in a short while, since we're no longer over our domain limit. So now we have the Duchy of Brittany, which all sounds great, but if you look at this, these people aren't happy because they're all Catholic, and trouble will be brewing already. And if you don't address that real soon, factions will start popping up. You can also see that you can construct new buildings. So let's see what we can get. Starting with Nantes, I want to build a hospice since it's right next to a river. And once a plague breaks out, it will be an easy target, and it will bring in some much needed funds pretty soon. Now these icons also show that there is low control. So if people aren't happy, we're gonna click on the council bar, go right to the bottom to the marshal, and now you see the increase control in county option is enabled. So we click on that, and these colors will show the level of unhappiness. So we definitely want to start in Nantes, make them a bit happier, which will take 10 years, though it won't necessarily be that long in this case. That's that taken care of. Clear our notifications. At the top you can see we can raise a runestone for 50 gold, which will give us some nice bonuses. So let's do that, and there's a decision screen popping up. So why do we want to raise a runestone? I'm just gonna say because I vanquished a king. Choose that, and now you need to choose your location. Let's put it in Nantes. Boom. So now when we click there, you'll see it has a little conquest runestone increasing the control growth until 1918, which is much needed. So now if you really don't know what to do next, you can always click on the tips at the top, and this will give you a lot of options. As you can see, our Gertie has a bit of an improved opinion of us now. Will show us our disabled buildings, which we're not worried about because they'll re-enable soon. The low control, which we'll take care of. There's an option that says you can vassalize someone because I am the Duke and should be their liege. So here's the neighboring ruler. You can select whether they start with low obligations, normal or high obligations. Of course, this will affect their acceptance. So we're just going to say normal and hit continue. See if it accepts. Whoa, boom, we've got a daughter. So now you can give your child either a name of her own, or let the game name her after an ancestor. Just a good name for your religion, culture, or even after a family member. Since it's the first daughter, I'm going to name her after her mother. May you grow to be strong. Boom. So there we have a daughter. First thing you want to do if you're getting a new child is right-click, say educate child, and you want to give them a guardian. So I'll be her guardian, she becomes my ward, and I'll be able to manipulate her upbringing and mold her into a ruler or vassal that I want. You can also arrange a marriage for her already. So we're going to click on that, click toggle filter, select inheritable traits, and because she's now the daughter of a jarl, we're getting more options. As we scroll down, here we can see Ivar's children. So that's awesome. This one will come with an alliance. As you can see, if we click on that, they have an army of 3,852, which is also visible here. And if we marry one of these two, we'll have an alliance. Of course, we want the child to be born into our house and dynasty, not Ivarin. So we're going to select matrilineal, which might limit the options a bit, as not everyone wants to be born into a girl's house. During that time, we're gonna select the bottom guy. He's fine with it. Chance of children, medium. He's handsome. This trait might get passed down, so we're gonna send a proposal. As we hit continue, you see, I accept your gracious offer of vassalizations. We have a new vassal, and there is our alliance with Jarl Ivar. So now we have our army of 2,993 plus these guys who we can call into battle. They'll accept most of the time should this opinion modifier be good enough. So we might want to, sway him a bit, just so he likes us a bit more and is more likely to join us should there be another war. So starting a new scheme will end the old one. Now if we click on the council tab, we do have the domestic affairs task. So all our courtiers' opinions will keep increasing as long as this icon is selected. So we're not too worried about him anymore. We're going to start our scheme and just try and make him like us a bit more. Marriage will also improve relations between two houses, whereas war will decrease the relations. You can also see the disabled holdings icons have now disappeared. So they're bringing in money. We just need to take control of the low control to keep everyone happy. As we press continue, my best advice for this game is just to enjoy it and, be this character. Embrace these traits that they give you, because this will make your game so much more fun. I like just leaning into my characters, see where the game takes us. That's always fun. Sometimes there's really unexpected outcomes or consequences. You can see we've been called to war by Jarl Ivar on Petty King Edmund. So we're just going to click on the enemies, look at their armies here. He's got 694. Petty King Bergred has 1,400. This should be easy. Jarl Ivar still has 3,600. So we're going to accept it. We're going to help them, because if we help them, it will also improve their opinions of us. So as the war starts, we can see they're not doing too great. They're all already losing this fight, but we're going to go see if we can help out our allies. We're going to raise our armies, click continue, wait for the maximum, hit pause, and now we want to click this icon again. So this is the invasion of East Anglia. You can zoom out and try and see where it is. So East Anglia is this part, though. So if you can't see where it is, we just want to click on one of the defenders, one of the people on the opposing team, double click them, and it will show us where they are. So we know we want to attack there. So we have our army here. We want to go straight for one of the capitals. Now, do take into account, should you go across water, there will be a fee, an embarkment cost. Now, this is the cost for pretty much building boats and the supplies for the travel. So there's always a gold cost, and the other thing is you don't actually need gold to travel across water. It will deduct even from a negative balance. So keep that in mind. The other thing to know is once our armies land, they're not going to be too effective in a fight. So you definitely don't want to land on top of another army. as you can see, we're in the clear, and here comes our allies to help us as well. And we're also about to get attacked by the enemy, so we're not in a great spot. We can see our allies trying to run away, which, I mean, come on guys, I came here to help you guys, and you run away. So now they're gonna try and attack us. Oh man, horrible allies, and of course it's too late for us to run away. They lose, that's fine. So here we go. Hopefully they come to reinforce us. Doesn't look like they are, but we're fighting a good fight, hopefully. And yeah, you can see the Vikings can also become berserkers, as one of our knights just did, giving him awesome bonuses. But we're losing this fight. We're probably gonna retreat, and you can see we lost one of our council members, and our army will be retreating to a safe place now. Terrible allies, but I mean, yeah, it is Ivar the Boneless. Can't really trust him. Now, while they're fighting, I'm gonna hit pause. I'm gonna go to my courtiers, click on the Your Courtiers tab. Now I want to select a filter saying marital status eligible. This will list all the single people. Then I want to click them one by one. This is a guest that I still need to recruit, but I don't have funds to do so, so we're going to skip him for now. Click on Nicholas, Manassas, and the other one who shares the same name. So now we want to give them spouses. You can see we still have our inheritable trait selected. We're going to give him a pretty wife. Say send proposal. Click this button. For the next guy, here's a 19-year-old. Although she is deceitful, so keep that in mind, though she is lustful. So there will be a lot of children. As you can see, it says chance of children high. So we'll get them married, and then finally, this guy only has one leg, but we're gonna land him a nice, smart girl. Now, if it's the other way around, during war, if they are females, we want to marry them to good knights with good prowess. So if this was a girl, I would sort by prowess and, select a good knight to marry. So typically you want to keep all your courtiers married and children flowing. This will grow your court, increase your pool of potential council members, knights, and partners even, just making your game better and house or dynasty stronger. So we lost our steward, we need a new one. As we click the plus button, another icon you might not have seen yet is the powerful vassal icon. Now these guys want to be on the council. If they're not good with stewardships, we're going to sort by stewardship. Take into account these powerful vassals are the ones that will turn on you should their opinion of you be too low. So we can see this guy's really good martial stats. We might have to replace this guy with him. But first, let's get the top ranking stewardship guy, who is Arnie. And as we get more courtiers, we have more options. So you want to, just go through these options once in a while and select better guys. As you can see, here's another powerful vassal, and he is a great diplomat. So we're going to fire this guy, lose some opinion from him, but that's okay, because we just gained a lot of opinion with a very powerful vassal. Now for the other one, he's on minus 69 opinion. Once we hire him, he just gained 50 opinion of us, and it will continue to improve even faster because of the domestic affairs option here. Let's just quickly have a look at our spy master. As you can see, Catherine is a better choice, so we're gonna fire him and employ her. So now you've got a really good start. Let's click on our army, see where they retreat to, and see if we can go rejoin that battle. So here comes the new wives, who will just all accept. So now we want to go help Ivar, even though he didn't help us. But as soon as we right click, we can see that our army is going to take casualties because of attrition. So these red skulls mean ideally you don't want to take that path. You can see if we manually choose a path, maybe go there, you can do it like that. But I actually think I'm not too happy with Ivar at the moment, so I'm not going to help him any further because we're expecting to get attacked by Catholics at any time. We just want to move a bit further away so that we can disband. That's, as you can see, it says we can only disband in a friendly area, so we need to move our army to the blue area of Jarl Ivar. So we're just going to speed up time a bit, have our army move a bit faster, pause again, and select disband. Now, if you are busy with the war, it will take longer for them to be raised again, but that's okay. 4 months in this game goes by real fast. So we're going to do that. At least now they saw we did help them. They're going to lose this battle by the looks of it, but they'll know we were there. So let's continue. Now, ideally, you don't really want to start another war until you've taken care of the low control problems, even though you can, but generally I like keeping order before expanding. So let's just continue for now. Here next to our avatar we can see we just got a new skill point. So you got a new perk for the martial tree, as you can see here. So we need to allocate that skill point to something. Now, since we have really low control, we can go for strict organization to speed up the control gain. Close the screen, and as you hover over the control icon here, which was set by clicking council and selecting the increased control, you can see it's down to 5 years now because he has better aptitude and higher skill. So it's going to be a bit faster regaining control. But those are the very basics you need for a great start in Crusader Kings 3. Of course, I can't share an entire playthrough, but the best part about this game is discovering things for yourself. You now have the foundations. You can always hover over any blue text and it will explain exactly what it is. But if you follow this start, no matter who you play with, you're gonna do just fine. Have fun, let me know what you're struggling with, and if you'd like to see more, thanks for watching.